When it comes to hitting short game shots from around the green, there's really an infinite number of situations you could be presented with. And for many of you, that's going to feel overwhelming, the need to learn potentially hundreds, if not thousands of different shots. However, the good news is that's really not true. All you really need to be able to do is hit a low shot, a medium flighted shot, and a high shot to really take care of around 90 to 95% of the situations you're going to find yourself in. Today I'm going to help you learn to hit those 3 shots, and with some small setup changes and 1 or 2 in-swing cues, you'll be hitting your short game shots better than ever before. Let's begin with the low shot, which I think is probably the easiest shot of the 3 to execute. I'm going to be hitting all of these shots with the same wedge. This is a 58-degree sand wedge, and I'm doing that to show you that these setup adjustments enable you to change the trajectory of your shot without necessarily having to change your club. So as I set myself for the low shot, I'm going to make some certain adjustments. First of all, I'm going to stand much closer to the ball than I would do for a regular shot. You'll see here that my feet are maybe 1, 2, just over 2 club head widths away from the ball. That's very, very close to the ball, and in doing so, that's going to help me, encourage me to stand the shaft very much up. So much up that it's actually onto the toe of the wedge itself. Now that adjustment helps me to keep the loft down and puts my wrists into a condition that will reduce the height of the shot. And at the same time as standing closer to the ball, I'm also going to turn the club face now, so visually to me this looks like it's pointing to the left. However, you'll see from this short video clip how the loft of your sand wedge is very much dictated by the height of the shaft. If you move the shaft more vertical or upright, the loft actually points more to the right. That's why there's a need for me to close this club face or visually make it look like it's closed. And equally, if you stand further from the ball and lower the shaft, my club face is going to point more to the left, meaning I need to open the club face for the ball to go in the desired direction. And for the low shot, my stance is the narrowest. I've got my heels almost touching and my toes turned out slightly, just a little bit of foot flare. And I'm positioning this ball slightly behind the center line. And that positions it far enough back behind my lead shoulder that builds in the necessary descent and down that I want from this shot. So having set myself for this low shot, I now need to execute on it. And my feel that I have throughout this stroke is that I'm going to keep my arms and wrists very long or wide. The feeling I have is that my thumbs really point down towards the ground throughout the backswing, the downswing, and even into the follow through. I really have a feeling that my wrists are uncocked and pointing very much down to the ground. There's no wrist motion that I'm using in this swing. So I'm standing close, narrow stance, face looks closed, and we really feel like I have a wide arc on both sides of the swing. That ball came out really low, chasing up towards the flag there. Nicely executed, and as I say, that typically becomes the most straightforward shot of the 3 because it involves the smallest swing. Now, as we move to the mid shot, we need to make a couple of adjustments from that low shot setup. First of all, you're going to stand a little further from the ball. Now, the club shaft is playing more of its designed condition, the angle that it was designed at. It's not excessively up with the toe in the ground, and equally not excessively down with the toe off the ground. So set up to the ball, standing a little further from the ball this time. You'll see 1, 2, 3, now 4 club heads away from the ball. So this looks a little more natural or standard, I would suggest. Stance is going to get a touch wider, and now the ball looks like it's more in the center of my stance, which puts it a little bit further forward in my stance in relation to this center of the swing. That's going to help me hit down a little bit less and help me get some extra flight on the ball. And now that I've got the club shaft in more of its design condition, I can have the club face in more of a neutral square condition. Again, this is going to help me to hit that mid-flighted shot. And when it comes to the swing itself, I'm really just trying to swing back hip height to hip height. There's a very small amount of wrist hinge taking place and a very small amount of club head travel here past my hands in the follow through. It's a medium shot with medium amount of wrist action. That one's flown a little bit higher. It's rolled out exactly the same distance to the same pin, but the amount of carry there was greater than in the low shot. That was probably 70% through the air, 30% along the ground. And let's finish by teaching you how to hit the higher shot, which for many of you is going to prove the more difficult shot because the club's traveling for longer and the margin of error down at the bottom here can seem like it's less. There's also the argument that you don't really need a high shot very often at all, except in those rare situations where you've got to go over a bunker and stop the ball very quickly. And if you've been following along so far, you'll likely think that we need to stand even further from the ball to create the high shot, and you'd be right. Here's one of the reasons that this really helps you to hit the ball higher. Again, I'm going to use the demonstration with this rod, this magnetic rod on the club face. If I have the club face in its square condition and I lower the shaft, you'll see from this down the line view how far left that club face starts to point. That's nothing to do with me twisting the face open or closed. That club face is staying in the same plane here. I'm just lowering the grip, and now the loft points excessively to the left. And so this is why when golfers play a high shot, that they stand further from the ball, lower the handle, and then open the club face. Now, this loft on this club face looks like it's pointing excessively to the right, but you can see again from this down the line view how the rod is pointing straight up in the air. I've increased the amount of loft significantly from its standard stock 58 degrees. By lowering the shaft and twisting the face open, this club now has closer to 70 degrees. So further from the ball, lower the shaft and open the club face. Now the stance gets wider still, to the point where the ball's much closer to my front foot, and again much closer to the lead shoulder, which is the center of the stroke. There's less shaft lean in this shot as well, which helps again to keep the loft on the club face. And from the swing's point of view, there's going to be more conscious hinging of the club. When we talked about the low shot earlier, we talked about having a wide arc with very little hinge. That's the distance the club is from my body is the widest. It's the widest in the backswing and the widest in the follow through to help me hit a low shot. For the high shot, I'm going to go the opposite. I want to have the shortest arc where the butt of the club here stays very close on the backswing and the follow through. And you can see as I just rehearse some practice swings here, how there's a lot more wrist motion throughout the backswing and the follow through. Further from the ball, club face open, shaft and vertical, and when I finish, I'm really going to feel like this club and hands have recocked and hinged and are much closer to my body. That thing has popped up straight in the air, and in terms of carry versus roll, that stopped almost immediately. So there you have a very simple system in terms of changing the trajectory of your shots around the green. And of course, you can even incorporate a change of club within the context of those different setups, those different ball positions, and those different arc lengths to be able to manage and adjust the ball flight even further. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. I'll be providing more valuable educational golf instructional videos shortly. It'd be great if you came along for the ride.